Good morning, Flagler County. I'm Rich Carroll. You're listening to Flagler's Morning News on Thursday, October 28th. And this local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow you. An elementary school student is facing charges after deputies say she called in a second false report of a school shooting. John Arking reports.
On Tuesday, the Flagler County Sheriff's Office responded to a call about a possible active shooter at Rimfire Elementary School. The Sheriff's 911 Dispatch Center received a call from a juvenile on the school premises advising there was a shooter in the school. When the 911 communication specialist asked to speak to the teacher, the caller hung up. The dispatcher then called back.
Hello. This is Flagler County Sheriff's Office calling on a recorded line. You called in about a school shooter and then hung up the phone with me?
The school was placed into a code red lockdown for the safety of students and faculty, resulting in a massive police and fire response. An investigation determined the call came from the same student who'd made a similar false report September 2nd. The juvenile was arrested and charged with making a false report of a shooting, misuse of 911 system, and disruption of a school function. The Department of Juvenile Justice released her into her parents' custody. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
Should Palm Coast raise fines for littering to $1,000? Amy Cherry has more.
At least one city councilman thinks so. Councilman Ed Danko introduced a proposal that would come up with an anti-littering campaign and hike fines for littering earlier this month. In an exclusive interview, he tells WNZF this is an issue the city needs to confront.
Look out the window. You're going to see a lot of trash that you haven't seen before. It's nice if we pick it up, but we really need a campaign that instills some pride into our citizens, not to litter. And we also need some steep fines to go with it, because let's face it, you didn't just wake up today and throw your first bag of fast food out the window.
Danko cites Texas's anti-littering campaign as a strong example of what works.
You don't mess with Texas. That's what the sign says. And then right below it, it says $1,000 fine for littering. So I think we need to find a slogan that fits Palm Coast, and I think we need to enforce some stiff fines for those who continuously think that they can just throw anything out of a car window.
Currently, the state fines litterers $150 if they're caught. Legally, it's unclear whether Palm Coast can raise the fine on its own. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Amy Cherry.
This month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and all week on WNZF, we've been shining the spotlight on what's been a rising problem in Flagler County. Trish Giacconi, CEO of the Family Life Center, tells WNZF oftentimes instances of domestic violence are centered around masculinity and gender role stereotypes.
Isn't that sad that that's how we identify masculinity? That we have to control women or have this perception of control of women, which is at the heart of domestic violence. It is all about that power and control. And how do I assert myself and make sure that this victim, this woman is, listening and doing what I say she should do.
She says many times victims won't speak up.
Because there is the potential of the aftermath. What happens if I say something, or if that person doesn't get arrested or is removed from the home? They recognize that that perpetrator has that power to harm them further.
Sheriff Rick Staley says domestic violence can be generational.
That's why it's hard to break the cycle. You see it generation after generation. And in some cultures, that's very, very strong. Certain cultures in this country and in other countries really make the male the dominant figure.
Staley says the COVID-19 pandemic has fueled a 14% increase in domestic violence arrests and a more than 40% spike in suspects violating restraining orders in domestic violence cases. A more convenient and safer system to access library materials is now available in Palm Coast. Karen Johnson has details.
Flagler County Public Library is making it more convenient for you with 24/7 contactless access to reserved materials at the Palm Coast main branch with the installation of secure electronic hold-it lockers purchased through a state CARES grant last year. Library Director Holly Albanese.
This locker system, similar to other locker systems that are available, like the Amazon lockers, offers the user 24/7 access. It doesn't require any contact with staff or otherwise, and they're able to reserve materials online like they normally would.
Albany says the challenges with the COVID-19 pandemic launched the idea of the lockers. Flagler County Public Library in September of 2020 received a $36,000 state CARES grant to enhance resident safety through the provision of more contactless services for the community. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Karen Johnson.
What is the difference between an EMR and an EMT?
Gil Aspinwall is the training officer with Flagler County Fire Rescue and said the difference is in the training. He said EMR, or Emergency Medical Responder, is the introduction to emergency medicine. An EMT, or Emergency Medical Technician, is the next step up.
Once you get into the EMT, now you're the ones that are actually employed by an agency. That's where you'll do a lot of the more advanced basic splinting and stuff of that nature. Then once you get to the paramedics, again, that goes to having to do the drug pharmacology, being able to use the monitor, and how to actually treat things.
Aspinwall said that students in the fire training program at FPC are EMRs as freshmen, but do not become EMTs until they're seniors. The Flagler Voice is on WNZF every Saturday morning at 8:30, and it's a podcast on the Flagler Radio app. Tomorrow, how does FPC's fire training program get its equipment? From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Rich Carroll.